As soon as I open it, roaches. To where when I walked in the house,
did you scream?
You don't know my life, bro.
Welcome back to Econics Talks, guys.
When I pop up, everybody gonna be like, man, overnight success.
Lifestyle topics, entrepreneurship, and investing.
Are you serious about this? Because if you are, then I'm willing to back the business.
We want to inform you, educate you, and empower you so that you can maximize your life. Let's get started. Welcome back to another episode of Econics Talks, guys. Today, I have Miles Alexander III on the podcast. Super excited. What's up, brother? How you doing?
How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm ready to get talking about what we're talking about today. So he is actually a commercial real estate developer. He owns a firm called Alexander Goshen, which holds over $280 million in assets, and it was founded in 2014. So we're going to be talking about some real estate today, y'all. So my first question, man. So I know you were the CEO or CFO at Refuge Family Care for a while. I'll get right into this thing. My first question is, what motivated you to kind of transition from there into the world of like commercial real estate? What was that thought process?
I'm one of the ones that like to say I was born into real estate, even though my family never was active as investors or developers. The way I grew up and how I experienced real estate was by adopting mentorship that wasn't solidified real mentorship, but I was always seeking knowledge. So I grew up in a foster care system, and my mother would usually come to pick me up and ride me around Philadelphia to see those homes, commercial properties, Victorian properties, where, the Jewish people would live or the Italians live. And she always inspired me to go into real estate, and seeing how they lived, I was inspired. So moving along, going into furthering my career, I joined Refuge Family Care, which was actually my father's company.
Okay.
That company is focused on assisted living. So when I got finished in my tours and got discharged from the military, I had a bunch of money saved up, as some people may know. In the military, you save everything, you don't spend anything. So I had a nice pot when I got home, and I talked to my father and I said, "Hey, let's go into actually acquiring property, and I'm buying some more assets and owning our own assets instead of renting and leasing these different buildings, and let's go from there." So I actually acquired some property, became an owner as well, and expanded the property and expanded the portfolio, and I'm here now.
There we go, man. There we go. That's dope, man. So what was the biggest, hurdle as far as learning curve? Because obviously you had a military background, but that didn't teach you how to do real estate, nor did it teach you how to do business. So where was the learning curve? You had to get it somewhere. Was Pops instrumental in that?
No, my pops went to school traditional way. He was taught to, even though he had his challenges when he was younger and had his trials, he always strived to be the best at, and what he saw was the best was going to school, getting a degree. So he went the corporate route, and as he got older, as more of a senior level, he wanted to transition into ownership, or at least owning a business of himself. I did not take that route. After high school, I went to the military, but I was always an entrepreneur at heart. I was always around hustling, trying to sell something, trying to flip something, trying to understand how I can keep cash flow going without clocking into somebody's job or clocking into somebody's, place of business. So I always knew that I had to be valuable or create value in a sense. And my value was I learned how to do construction.
Mm.
And I learned that very well as a business person, and understanding overhead and profit and understanding cost and how to minimize cost. I turned that into equity. And what I mean by that is I met a guy. We go to these webinars, we go to these conferences, and these guys are speaking on these panels. And I found this one guy intriguing he was from London, but he moved to Georgia. And I approached him and I told him I was a contractor. I was home building at the time, single family properties. And I was doing some commercial stuff and government contracting stuff. And I had a nice pool of labor that I was able to control my costs. So I offered my services to him to see on some of the rehabs he was doing. Let me take a bid at it, you know?
Yeah.
And he did. And we got the job. And we cut costs and we got it done in a significant shorter amount of time than what his other contractors were.
Mm-hmm.
So as I started to realize, and the goal was to turn that into equity. So now I offered him to rehab his properties for equity, basically.
Okay.
And as it was minimal and it grew and it grew and it grew, I started to become owners in some of the rehabs and some of the projects, larger projects he was doing. He ultimately got to a 4,000 or 5,000 unit holdings of multifamily properties, but I was able to partake and participate in some of that.
That's dope, man. That's dope. So you ended up landing a big contract. And first of all, how did that feel? So you went through the process. You didn't know if you had a shot, but you was like, let me go through the bidding process. So when you actually got the contract, what did that feel like?
It was relief because, as you may know, I'm a chill guy, right?
Yeah, super chill.
I don't like to talk to people. I'm a introvert type of guy,
Mm-hmm.
and when I was able to retain that contract or win that contract, it was such a relief. And I was like, okay, I'm on to something here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the right track. Let's see where this goes. Because, like I said, when I was younger, I always wanted to be an owner in real estate. My goals were always to build and own those big skyscrapers that were downtown.
Right.
So as me being a spiritual man, I'm like, man, this must be the right move.
Mm-hmm.
That the steps that I have to take to do that. So it was just a check mark, but it was a big relief.
Yeah. It's like the world confirms where you're supposed to go. Like when you're on a journey of entrepreneurship, you got to look for I call them good omens, right? I'm a spiritual man myself. So you got to look for, if you don't look for God, you're not going to find God, like you got to look for him in your situation. If you seek, you will find. It's very simple. So it's always dope to see how kind of like entrepreneurs go on this journey and they don't know where to go. But then certain things start to kind of fall, like dominoes fall. And those are huge confirmations, one for confidence, two for faith. But then it allows you to kind of push forward because that's all somebody needs, Follow-up question, man. So one of the biggest myths or misconceptions about real estate is that you can just go in there, fix and flip, buying stuff and all of that. But one of the things that I heard you say was you went to the military, which means you spent some time there. You had a nest egg. I try to tell people all the time about building something. You have to build something and you grow from there. So can you talk about that experience, just addressing some of the misconceptions about real estate, how expensive it is and where to start, and we'll go from there.
Sure, man. I'll say I got successful overnight in 10 years. I would say that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, and what I mean by that is, people get this misconception and these, not to talk down on anybody, but the courses come out about, get into real estate without cash or credit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some of that can be misconstrued where some of that is true, some of that is not true. And so the full context of that is get into real estate without your cash or your credit. It has to be somebody's credit or cash.
Yep.
Right. But so in the midst of that, I learned that I needed to have some type of capital getting into that business, getting into the business.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to, for lack of a better word, save a lot of money. I went into the military, received a bonus, didn't spend any of that. At the time when you're, 17, 18 and you're getting $3,000 or better a month and you don't have any bills and you're living on post, you're at the DFAC, you're eating, everything's pretty much, handed to you. That adds up over time.
Yeah.
So,
how long were you in the military? If you don't mind me asking? 5 years. So you did all of that in 5 years. When I say all of that, I mean being able to save in 5 years.
I bought a car. That was really it.
Okay. Okay. Did you ball out on it?
I didn't ball out on the car.
Okay.
I wasn't into that yet.
Okay. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So would you mind sharing some of your insights to your investment strategy and how you've been able to manage or grow to your impressive portfolio? Because obviously you don't just manage $100 or $1 million. You make $280 million in assets. That's nothing to scoff at. So how did you kind of grow to that management, to that level?
Yeah. So back to the story where, I was leveraging, this so-called mentor that I had and, learning what he did. I copied what he was doing. I looked at his organization. I seen the people, the key executives that he had on his team. So I could mimic that on my side as a developer, as an investor. So I was able to bring on certain people that, could run a performer for me, that can do analysis, that could be a project manager, that could be an acquisition specialist, other that was very well polished in the industry, more than me, smarter than me, to make myself look, for lack of better words, better in the industry. So second, with having equity and trading that value to him for equity, I was able to build a balance sheet. Right. So the important factor of that is I could take the balance sheet to the bank now. Mm-hmm. So meaning I put all my assets on a paper and that paper represents the value and the cash flow and the net value that it has. Right. So I was able to do that a number of times with all the properties that we invested in together, basically. And I took that to do my own projects or whatever. So after that, I learned that I was able to do my own projects and keep just flipping up. And then now we hold a little bit over 2,000 multifamily units, about 3 hotels with my father's company and expanding into another business where we are doing senior living and a larger scale assisted living. We have a little bit under 200 beds.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So obviously you have a diverse background, and thanks for that answer. You have a diverse background in just different businesses that you've been a part of. So you've done entertainment, you've done commercial real estate, obviously senior living facilities. So with that diversity and background, how has that helped you kind of identify what markets to be in real estate wise?
Failures. And I want people to be encouraged to fail because it's a valuable lesson.
Please talk about that. Please talk about the failure, man.
I told you before, my father chose a route to go to school and get a degree and go the corporate route. My teacher was, doing it and just learning by doing. And I wasn't always successful at it, man. I went through foreclosures. I went through losing properties. I went through, losing deals, losing money. When I became before the multifamily, a home builder, man, these contractors, man, they robbing Peter to pay Paul. So
yes.
The project is in line, and when they can get to it, they get to it.
Yep.
So, there was, the embarrassment of that to the people I was selling the properties to, not getting done on time, losing clients. So ultimately I became a commercial contractor myself and learn. And I learned the mistakes of what I did, transpired over to, of course, gaining knowledge by books and everything like that. But the doing had me say, okay, I'm not going to operate that the way that contractor did it, and the way I'm going to do it this way.
Right.
Man.
That's what's up, man. Dang.
Okay.
So, go ahead.
I was going to say, man, it's okay to fail. I really encourage it, because that is the lesson. That is the teacher above all to me.
It is. I agree. And so you mentioned like you got successful overnight, but it took 10 years to do it. And so when I hear you talk about the foreclosures, you talk about, deals that you lost out on, those are the experiences that I want you to talk about, because people think this game is pretty. But what they don't understand is those lessons are necessary, because if you didn't drop the ball on a client, or if you didn't deal with a horrible contractor, at the end of the day, you don't learn the lesson. So I guarantee you know how to properly, actually, that's a great question. How do you properly assess contractors? Like, how do you determine what's a good contractor? Even if you don't know them, what's some things that you look for to kind of assess, oh, these are red flags, these are green flags?
Correct. So my first thing, I look at other projects and referrals that they're doing, right? That's the first thing. If they're not as active as, they portray to be, that's a red flag. Second, a contractor has to have money. And that's either, it can be various. It can be lines of credit. It has to have available capital, because I don't pay contractors up front. Because you give them a check, you give a deposit of, $200,000, and you never hear from them again. Right. And most of the contractors are not from the United States or whatever. So in most cases, are the ones that I was dealing with. Mm-hmm. So you get the contractor, 100, 200 grand, that's better than what he had before. He's okay.
Yeah.
So I always look for, what's your book of business? Mm-hmm. Where are you at with these businesses? Do you have any referrals? What does your lines of credit look like? Can you show me your availability? What is your bonding capacity? Your insurance. Have you ever did any claims? I'm pulling all that, or I haven't adjusted as pulling all of that for me.
Okay, cool. So because it's crazy on a super small scale, bro. I'll tell you a story about Airbnb. I had running a single family home. I had a contractor that was supposed to be doing my yard, and he tried to charge me like $600 just to clean out the whole backyard. And I'm like, bro, I didn't know. This is just me not knowing anything. And then I was like, man, this can't be this much. So I went on TaskRabbit, and then I Googled it and looked up, and I ended up getting somebody to cut my whole yard for like $100, like, because it was a couple months, but I had chopped off that grass. So they needed to do some work, but he ended up knocking it out front and backyard. And I went back to the contractor. I was like, bro, why'd you try to steal from me? Because I've been giving you business for the last 2 years. And that was one of my first personal experiences with, and the worst part about that is he was a brother. Right. He was a brother, and I make it my business to patronize Black businesses. And it was just unfortunate that was my experience. And I'm gonna be real, man, working with our community of folks is not, from my experience, has not been the best. And so I understand why a lot of contractors and people who do business at a higher level start to branch out into different, just different businesses and different, types of communities, because, we look in our own, like, how many qualified people do we have that their business is actually tight word, And so it's just, that's why I have the podcast, because it's like you got brothers like yourself who are giving back and trying to give people the game. But if you don't have this business acumen, you lose out on so many things, because people are expecting you to come to the table with a certain level of knowledge. So, this is one of those learning experiences. But yeah, man. So you received a dope award. You got Connect CRE Florida, and you got Gulf Coast 2023 Next Generation Award. So obviously you've been identified as a young talent in this industry. So what would you say sets you apart from the younger perspective in this industry, as opposed to some people who have been in this game 50 years or 30, 40 years?
Man, the willingness of execution. My execution, I feel, I won't say trumps everybody, because everybody's doing their thing. I know a couple brothers that are doing their thing, but I have to be a man of my word. I have to get it done. All I have is my word. And I learned that a long time ago in this business, or any business. for what you say you're going to do it. And even if I lose money, is there a point that we can renegotiate? Or I like this, brother, this is what I said I'm going to do. I'm going to honor that. And that always helps me to referral to people that want to sell me deals or partner with me. That's where the value comes in.
Yeah.
So that it's the execution part for me.
What's up, Econics fam? It's Josh checking in. I want to quickly dive into something crucial, your financial piece. So picture this: comfortable conversations about your budget that actually makes sense, life insurance that's not a headache, and managing your debt without all of the confusion. Well, that's exactly how I intend to serve all of you. So if you'd like to connect and begin your journey towards financial freedom, well, just tap the link in the show notes to schedule a meeting and we'll chat. I'm really excited to show you how I can earn your business. And now on to the show. Yeah, and that takes time. People don't realize that those little small skill sets are learned over time, like following up with clients and being more professional, being a man of your word. I used to struggle with stuff like that too, just when I first got started out, because there's times when you get lazy, or you're supposed to make that call and it's just like, I don't feel like talking to this dude. I don't feel like doing that. But then your word is your bond, because people don't realize people do business with the individual. Like, you're in a relationship-based business. And so most entrepreneurs are relationship-based businesses. So talk to me about how you've been able to develop relationships, because I know you mentioned your mentor who was very instrumental in your life. But one, people don't know how to find mentors. Not that you really look for them. They kind of just pop up, but you have to put in the work to, I guess, be found by them, So talk about your experience when on both sides with mentoring people and being mentored, and how that sped up your process.
Sure. So one, finding a mentor, how I found mentors. I've actually only had one mentor that was a solid mentor for me.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched people that were, I really admired. I follow what they're doing. They have no idea who I am, but I pay attention to the execution, the bank behind them, just things like that I'm always, they're always a story that they're always just elevating. They're breaking barriers, especially, the brothers that I know that are doing their thing. There's Quentin Primo, there's Victor McFarlane, there's the Bua Benitez out in DC that have trumped and broke barriers, as Black people in this industry that are doing it at a large scale. So I watch people like them that I'm trying to emulate myself and actually be better than. So
that's
second, if I will say this to the people that are looking for a mentor, be careful when you go through that, because there's a lot of people being taken advantage of, and they're buying courses, and they're it's almost like a I'll refrain from that, but they're buying.
I know what you talk about.
If somebody wants to mentor you and they sought you out, some of the questions to ask them is how active they are. What are the deals they're doing? What does their balance sheet look like? So if a mentor came up to me and asked me, or if I'm wanting to mentor a brother, what qualifies me to mentor them? What does my book of business look like? What does my bank account look like? If you don't want to be disrespectful and go to the bank account, you can show them their balance sheet. The balance sheet it should be real. So if you can't, if a mentor can't show you that, or a financial advisor, whoever it is, these people can't show you that type of stuff, keep it going, brother. Keep it going, man. I'm key about being careful who you surround yourself and the energy you surround yourself with.
Oh, yeah. I've had my own dream. It's crazy because certain mentors aren't for certain seasons in your life. And you can run into people who just don't see it. And it's crazy part is they don't even know anything about what you're doing. they just think they know anything, and then they just start spewing out this stuff because they heard something, they may have read something, but have actually never gotten into the field of the industry that you're going into. And next thing you know, you are discouraged and you done gave up your dream for a dude who ain't never even did what you did or even intended to do it. It's crazy how that works, man. Now, I know you mentioned some horror stories. I like to get into those because I think people like they really think this thing is pretty out here. But I like to tell people everybody pays a price. I don't care who you are. I don't care what level you at. Everybody has to pay a price. So can you explain or just describe one of your bleakest moments where you may have thought about giving up or things were really just not working out for you in that season? And what were you able to do to kind of get through that process?
Every day is a challenge, man. I'm even going through challenges now. I'll give you a recent story. So my business has been more market rate and value add, right? So the level that I've been able to achieve and consistently execute has been the market rate side, the value add side. We as a company just started to bring on the affordability and workforce side that we product that we emulate now. And some of your viewers that's in the industry may know this. Affordable housing tax credit deals are very difficult. They're very political. I'm in the state of Florida. That state is
it's a rough state, man.
Not front if you're not rough with those state. Boys.
Yep.
And I can probably speak for some people that your viewers know. If you're not in that circle, man, and that's probably everywhere, but you're not in that circle, man, it's very hard to get in. So what we have been doing is, again, back to relationships, is partnering with people that have, that in more than I do. With tax credit development, you have to have a certain amount of tax credit deals under your belt before you do a deal on your own. So we've been able to partner with tax credit experienced developers that I bring value to. I'm just not asking, can I be on your deal? The deal has to work, and both have to have a win-win to actually execute this deal and create relationships and all, have fun. So yeah, man. But it's these stories where, we submit for a project with the county or city, and we spend $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 to put a package together, submission package, and it's a competitive process. Right. So it's some of these that I haven't won, but I don't get that money back. You know what I'm saying? Wow. So it's expensive, but you got to know, you got to be able to deal with it and understand. Just building relationships is building relationships. I go back and see, okay, why did I not win that? What was I missing? If I can talk to that person, say if I'm submitting something to the housing authority in partnership with the housing authority, after they show us an award, which I wasn't a part of, I would contact that person and say, okay, all is fair. Can you tell me, if you can, what made my submission different from my competitors that submitted? What was I lacking? Was it this? Was it that? Was it that? So I'm always looking for, a learning method so I can be better. That's why I said, don't worry about failing, because it's teaching me to be better later on. So my submissions are totally different. We analyze stuff really different now, especially in Florida.
Yeah.
It's a capital intensive game.
Yes. Yes, it is. And you know what? Not to cut you off, but you mentioned it is a capital intensive. That means it costs a lot of money to do this. So speaking on that, that's actually a great segue as far as financing. What are some ways that you learned to either finance deals, or how have you been able to kind of navigate that? That's a whole different animal, financing these deals.
Yeah, I'll give you both sides. So one, I said with the market rate and the value add stuff, we'll buy apartment complexes. So we'll put a deal under contract, and we'll put the whole package together to submit to a bank. By this time, I have a balance sheet. I'm able to cover my experience as well as my required capital to do the deal. But when you're doing these deals, they only loan to up a certain amount, right? So let's just say 85% or 80% that a bank will do, just hypothetically speaking. And there's a 20% gap. So with these relationships that you have to build, and either with private money, with institutional money, family office, friends and family, I need to have a track record and understand that I can go solicit to these type of people to raise this capital. And by that, we call that syndication. We run a 506 series syndication, and they were able to participate in the deal and be a part of that.
That's
now,
good.
On the other side, when you get into affordable housing or workforce housing, or you can utilize this on any type of deal, I've been able now to emulate partnerships where the legacy wealth or wealth legacy in effect. So we are targeting, especially in Florida, there's a lot of families that look like us that own property at a magnitude of acreages, right? And they don't know what to do with it. It's been passed down. Some they don't even know they have. When they find out, they just want to sell it.
Right.
So my company is able to come into the picture where we'll say, hey, partner, let's develop your property. You stay in the deal. Don't sell it.
Right.
If you decide to sell it, you have the first right of refusal and we'll put you in a position to buy or sell. So we are trying to create wealth and generational wealth, a cash flow for these families from 7 to 10 generations to come. Yeah. So we will sometimes partner with a family and we'll go get the financing. We'll handle all the design. We'll handle all of the due diligence and negotiations with the cities, with whoever else. And their equity is the land. In some instances, they lease it to us, and we'll do a mortgageable lease from them. Or sometimes we'll actually go into an entity. We'll both combine entities, and we'll develop with them. We do with faith-based churches as well, communities as well, where these churches have access of land that they have in their holdings, and they don't know what to do with it. So they seek developers like me, and we'll partner and develop, affordable housing or workforce housing or commercial retail, or even a new church to expound and have additional income besides, your regular, tithes and offering or, something of another sort.
That's what's up. I was going to actually ask you about, gentrification and, what your take on with obviously being a commercial, real estate developer, you deal with gentrification, or you either on any level, you got to deal with it. So just to hear that's a creative way to go back and, get back to, people in our types of communities, because, you do have a lot of people who sell off properties and, who don't know what to do with it. But it's so much miseducation and misinformation out here. And man, I'm so glad you came on, because what type of investors are you looking for? Because I hope somebody hear this and be like, tell people who you're looking for.
Well, you caught me off guard there. We don't really solicit like this, but
you good? Talk to the people. Tell them they got some money and they want it, because there's a lot of people who don't even know that this is possible. Like a lot of people who don't even know that a value add is even a thing. So I'm pretty sure that there's somebody out here saying like, okay, well, I own a home. I don't really know what to do with it. I got it from my dad or my mom. So what type of investor do you typically work well with? That's a better question, a way to form that.
Tell you this, man, with the syndications we do, most of our investors have been more of a high net worth investor. What you call is the qualified accredited investor.
Accredited investor. Okay.
There's new laws that have come into place where the average working class, or I say the working class, can participate in a project, a value added development, So with those type of deals, we are opening up to a lot more, especially with the community, when the community is involved. Like, for instance, we're doing one in Fort Myers where it's a historic property called McCullum Hall. It's a historic property that involves some residential, and the community has actually asked us if they wanted to be involved. So we're setting up, a crowdfunding platform for the community to be involved with the project, and it's a really cool project.
Yeah, talk about it. That's dope. That's dope.
It's a prior event space where, built in the 1950s or 40s, I think, where Mr. McCullum Hall was a developer in the area who developed that. And there was a time where it's this thing called the chicken circuit. So all of these different, entertainers would go around to these, disenfranchised areas and perform. So as you know, you have one side and the other side, and we wasn't allowed to go over there.
Yep.
So basically, we're gonna do our thing over here, and they did that. So you had people like Duke Ellington and Sam Cooke and all of these different really dope entertainers come through this particular property. So it's now owned by the city, but we won that award with the city where we're able to turn that and bring back more of a more modernized version of entertainment with food, with the food hall, as well as adjacent to the property is a residence.
That's so dope.
So we're doing that for the community, but the community will absolutely partake in the investment because it's theirs.
Yeah. That's dope, man. Next question for you. Thank you for sharing that, because I always wonder how in this space do you give back to people? How do you actually make it, to where the community can actually benefit from development? Because we see the other side of it all the time. So what does it look like on that? So dope story, man. Now, next question for you. Would you mind sharing? We almost done. Would you mind sharing a memorable story about a particular deal that, was either very difficult or, you were really proud of this deal? It was just that one, there's one deal I know you got in your head. It's like, all right, that was the one. Tell me about that deal.
I got two, if I could tell you.
Okay,
I got one current one we're going through now and one that I've done before.
Okay.
This is a property that was dear to me in Decatur, Georgia. This was it was a value add property that we were going back and forth for the past year and a half. It was owned by an Indian gentleman, very good guy, but he's a very shrewd, very savvy businessman, in which I liked. So he wanted his number, and that was his number. So that challenged me to get really creative. And, with OPM or other people's money, learning how to access business funding and lines of credit, which I didn't do before. That was something that I just always were offering my equity to, and I didn't go through. And I'm telling you this because I learned how to actually be savvy, get creative financing.
Yep.
So with that deal, it was a 173 unit deal in Decatur, Georgia. We wound up financing that deal. I had so much. I went through so much through that where I didn't really cry, but I was tired.
It was that moment of like, damn, I got through it.
I got through it. I was supposed to go out that night. I didn't, man. I went to sleep and I said, y'all got it. I'm good. I got it. But yeah, the second one, man, we're going through a project now where this is in Palm Beach. And these are one of the families that was able to retain their land in the city. A very, very beautiful families together. They have this property that is in the smack of downtown, and we're negotiating with them to develop the property, and they of course would stay in the deal and be a part of the wealth generational transfer unto their children. And that property is a different one because we see what has went on around them. There's multi-billion-dollar deals being done, and they're getting this money from the city. They're getting these incentives from the city. And, this family feels like they've been left out.
Yeah.
And, this one I'm holding dear to me because I want them and I want to prove to them that, one, our brother can get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And two, to have the generational wealth for their family. So, we'll make some money on it, but it's not really, I want them to have.
Right.
And be for the next ones to come up. And it's so important to me because they're the last ones, pretty much the last ones to have this piece of property in this type of area.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that one is one that is, I'm going through that. We're negotiating with the family every week. There's something different every week, but they're on board, and I love them, man. So they're pretty, it is what it is.
That's what's up, man. Thank you for sharing that story, man. So I'm going to shift to the Iconics 10. I'm about to get you up out of here. I got some 10 quick questions for you. Fun questions. I don't have nothing to do with real estate. So check this out. First question is, what would you title this chapter in your life?
Good question. Becoming.
I like that. All right. Number 2, what superpower would you have?
Now, patience.
People don't realize, that's.
I had to learn that.
Yeah, for sure.
I wasn't always chill like this. I'm telling you, it's patience.
Experience to do it to you, boy.
Yes,
I tell you, experience to do it. Number 3, what would you invest in right now if money was not an issue?
Real estate.
There we go. Already there. And if you weren't doing real estate, what would your other profession be? That's the next question.
When I was a kid, I always thought I wanted to be a ball player.
Okay.
So I wasn't tall enough. So out there. And then so I play the piano and the violin. So I thought I was actually going to be a music producer. And I was doing some producing at a time when I was younger. But I've veered off into getting into the more real estate when I focused after I got out of the military. Yeah. So to answer your question, it probably would be music, or I probably would be like a travel vlogger.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah.
Just be everywhere and just go. So
that's what's up. All right, number 5. You got 5 dinner guests, dead or alive. Who's coming to the table? 5.
Ooh. All right, Colin Powell.
That's a good one. I read his book, man. I like his leadership rules. Dope. Colin's a good one.
Michael Jackson.
MJ.
I you guys might not like me when it's saying this, but I want to hear what he has to say. I would say Donald Trump.
Okay.
I just
That's fine. Him at the table with MJ and Colin Powell will be.
Yeah.
Colin Powell will be dope, man.
I'll say this the last person, but this one before that would be dead. You said
dead or alive?
Moses, and Christ.
Okay. Dang, Jesus and Donald Trump. That's a dope room.
You see how the conversation is going to be? That's a real conversation.
It sure is. It sure is. That's what's up, man. All right, number 6. Who is your celebrity crush?
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Oof. I don't really have one, to be honest. I don't really have one. Let me think of one.
Because you got one. It's just like you're not salivating over that person. It's just like, you know what? Man, she a baddie.
I had one time I was an Alicia Keys fan. And I was a crush on Alicia Keys. When I was younger, don't hit me with this. I used to really like Mila Kunis and Hilary Duff. I was real.
Okay. Hey, Hillary Duff. I'm a
Man, listen.
know what time it
But yeah, man, more Alicia Keys, especially how talented she was, and she was more of a chill person. Gave more of a wife vibe. Was always out there, so that's more my vibe.
I feel you. I like, yeah, I feel that. Same here. That's definitely more my vibe. All right, number 7. What's something that the average person would not know about you?
You wouldn't know telling today I'm a very goofy guy.
That's dope. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a personality trait that most people won't pick up. They say get to know him. You get that. Number 8. What's your favorite productivity hack? Like, what do you use to get things done?
What helps me get things done and motivates me is the gym. I use the gym. 1, it keeps me out of trouble. And 2, I talk to myself and I talk to the Most High in the gym. And I'm having conversations with myself as I'm working out.
That's so dope. I talk about I call it the God hour. I run. I lost like 65 pounds, like 8 months.
Wow.
Good, bro. God is good. And so I tell people, man, you got to have that time, because in those moments of quietness, I'm able to solve a lot of problems just because it's just still. And I'm allowed to, it's nothing else going on when I'm running, and I'm allowed to just zone out and solve those problems and stress out, freak out, but allow myself to process it. So by the end of whatever workout, whatever I'm doing, I'm okay. But if you don't allow yourself time to go through that and allow yourself to really figure out your stuff, bro, you're going to be stressed out. So yeah, man, I learned that one too, man. That's a dope one. Y'all get in the gym. Number 9, name 3 of the most influential people in your life.
Okay. Victor McFarland. He's a real estate developer or investor out of the West Coast. I would say my daughters. I put them 3 into 1.
Yep, that's fine.
They keep me alive and they keep me going.
Yep.
So them, one more person. I'm trying to juggle. I got like 5. I'm trying to juggle the real one. Let's just say I really admire this guy. Let's just say 50 Cent. I like
50. I ain't gonna lie, 50 asshole, but like as far as like business is so strategic and cerebral in his head. Like he's not rattled easily. But men who've been through that kind of stuff, they're not rattled easily.
I like the story, man. I like the story. I seen where he came from and where he's at now.
Yeah. No, I respect that. That's dope. Last question for you, Miles. PB&J or grilled cheese?
Wow.
PB&J or grilled cheese?
I'll say today I can't have a lot of grilled cheese, so I have to have some PB&J.
Okay, cool. My brother, we get PB&J right there with you, dog. Cool, man. That's the Econics 10. Miles, I do appreciate you. So last thing I need from you before we let you go, just tell everybody where to find you at. I'm going to put all your links in the show notes so people can follow up with you. People who want to, look into his deals, look into his portfolio, you can check it out on his website. So go ahead. The floor is yours. Tell everybody what you want to tell them.
The company is alexandergoshen.com, Facebook, Alexander Goshen, IG, Alexander Goshen, Twitter, Alexander Goshen. My IG is Miles Alexander _3RD. And that's pretty much it, man. If you want to email me or reach out to me, miles@alexandergoshen.com. And that's it, man.
Love it, man. Y'all go check out this interview, like, share, subscribe, and y'all share it, man, everywhere you go, man. Appreciate you, bro, for hopping on the podcast. And that's it, man. Y'all have a good one. Peace.